Have you ever stayed like one night in a place and had this feeling like you just needed to go back? Like there's something almost unresolved there? A mystery calling to you, or something that you need to learn there somehow? That is the feeling I've had about Finnskogen, the huge forest area that stretches across both Norway and Sweden. Finnskogen is the central area for skogfinnene, or the forest Finns, like you would say in English. A people that immigrated from Finland in the 1600s and started their own community here deep within the forests. It's also a place rumored to be kind of mystical, where myth and magic has played a central role in the daily life of the people here for centuries. Today there aren't that many people living in these forests though, and not that many travelers venture here. When Bendik and I visited for one day 3 years ago, we didn't really see that much. We just drove through the forest and explored a little bit. There's this like really beautiful house here, but it seems sort of abandoned, and that's so sad. But still, as you guys might remember, I said that I really wish I could go back there one day. There was just something about this forest that made me want to explore more. I was curious about how much of the old culture of the forest Finns is still alive and thriving in these woods. And I wanted to learn more about the myths and folklore from this area. I grew up in a forest myself, and I guess I feel some kind of kinship to the people that choose to make it their home. So when I saw that Bendik and I were going to be touring with our workshops in this area for 2 weeks this fall, I was really excited about it. And in this video I will share with you our experiences in Finnskogen and what turned out to be even more of an adventure than I had anticipated. Welcome to Åsnes and Berge, this homestead that we're renting right now. We're like all the way up in the forest, and this is kind of the place that is at the end of this long gravel road, so there's no other houses like here. It's only forests, and it's so quiet here. We're staying here for a couple of more days, and then we're moving to another Airbnb in another area, and that place is also gorgeous, so I can't wait to show it to you. But yeah, we are in an area in Norway that is like in the southeast of Norway, and it's close to the Swedish border. I really am fascinated by history, and especially by people that choose to live, you know, in the forest, in the deep of the forest. So I'm really happy that we get to stay here now for like 2 weeks. I am so excited to explore this area more this time because we have so much more time now, and already I feel really at home here in this place. Actually, my stepsister, Åse, she just moved here this summer. So I'm really happy that she lives here. I am happy to see her a bit more, and we're actually going now in just about an hour. We're going to meet her and her boyfriend Daniel, and we're gonna explore Finnskogen together. But we're not exploring it on foot. We are exploring it on canoe. It really feels like this is the most natural place to begin this story, because this was the first day that we could actually explore Finnskogen. We had mostly been teaching in the schools and spending our evenings back at this homestead. And we really wanted to spend our weekend exploring the forest. When we discovered that it was possible to paddle canoe there, that was definitely the thing we wanted to do. However, it was quite cold, so we were a bit nervous about it, and we packed on quite a few layers of clothing for this trip. We're paddling along this water or like a river that is called Kynna, and we're starting here, and then we're gonna paddle all the way, hopefully down here, because we want to paddle through all of these like small river bends, which is the part we are the most excited about. Yeah, and then we're gonna end up here, and someone is gonna pick us up here if we manage to get this far in the cold. Still really frosty, and it's about 12 o'clock in the day, so it's probably gonna be really cold, but it's so beautiful outside today. And we're now entering into Finnskogen. I think it's worth mentioning that except for Bendik, we didn't really have that much experience with paddling canoes, and Åse, my stepsister, had actually never been in a canoe. But we were told that Kynna is very easy to paddle and is a really calm area, so most people would be able to do it, and we were just hoping that that was the case. We're on the water. This is even better than I thought. It's like so quiet here. It's really warm. It wasn't cold at all. Woo-ah! Woohoo! That's okay. Returning to Finnskogen felt almost a little bit like returning to an old friend. And I was really excited to be back there again. I love this. It's so fun. The first part of the paddle was through a couple of lakes, and the water was so still it looked like a mirror. We were just having the best time. It was also so fun to experience this together with Åse and Daniel, because they are also people like us that really appreciate being in the forest and in nature. Åse and I grew up in the same area of Norway in the countryside, and we were actually friends long before we became sisters. We were friends from 3 years old, and when we were 10, our parents got together. We share so many memories and experiences from playing in the forests together. And this day really brought back that feeling of playfulness and adventure that we used to have. And the more I was exploring this area, the more sense it made to me that she would want to move here. I guess we both still long for places where we can roam freely in the forests like we used to. Forhåpentligvis er det de eneste bjørnene vi møter på. Jeg tør ikke si noe nå. Det ble faktisk litt varmere der. Ok, bra. Eventually we got to the part of the trip that we were most excited about, where the river would become much more narrow and the path a little bit more challenging. And now it really started to feel like we were being swallowed by the forest. The quietness became deeper and deeper the further into the forest we went, and there were no more cabins along the shore. Are you enjoying yourself?
It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's nice weather. Beautiful.
So beautiful. So glad we did this. So quiet. Oh, we're approaching the end of this beautiful, beautiful trip. I really don't want it to end. It's just so quiet here, and I think I could do this for more hours, maybe for like 2 more days. So nice. Yeah, we really could have stayed on that water forever, it felt like. But the sun was going down, and actually Bendik and I had one more place that we wanted to get to that day. And little did we know that this adventure had just barely begun. Oh no! We have left our friends behind, and we are headed for yet another place today. We're actually going to this event at the Swedish border that is like they're gonna tell some myths or some tales about stars. Bendik and I really had no idea what we were getting ourselves into here. We had just found a Facebook event saying that there was going to be a person telling star myths from the Finnskogen area around a fire. And this was going to take place deep within this forest, close to the Swedish border. It sounded like the perfect way to get to know a bit more about the people of Finnskogen and their customs. But we were already quite late for this thing, and the road we had to drive there was just this really bad road going deeper and deeper into the forest. It kept getting darker, and the road felt like it kept getting worse by the minute, so we definitely discussed quite a few times if we needed to turn around. We have a little problem. We're gonna try to cross this little pond. Woo! But it's a bit scary. Veldig bra jobba. After crossing that pond, there was not really an option anymore to turn back, so we just kept driving on, and eventually we reached this place deep within the forest where the only sign of people were all the cars and this little torch by the roadside. It was so dark we couldn't really see anything, but we heard some voices in the distance and we started walking in that direction. As we got closer to what seemed like an old abandoned farm, we saw the smoke rising in the distance, and we knew we were in the right place. Arriving there after dark, it was really hard to see anything but the 4 big fires that had been lit in this clearing. Sparks were flying towards the dark sky, and lots of people were gathered around the fires, close to the heat, their faces halfway concealed by the night. We also noticed a lot of people were walking around, gathering wood and small branches, throwing it on the fire. And we realized they were clearing the field. So we joined in and started talking a bit with the people that were there. expecting to find mostly locals and people from the area. There were a lot of forest Finns there that evening, both from the Swedish and the Norwegian side of the border. But also, there were actually a lot of people like Bendik and me, who had traveled from far away to come to this place for this specific evening. And that might not sound so strange to you if you haven't been in this area, but it really isn't a place that people in Norway travel that often. Especially not if the only reason for traveling there is just this little Facebook event you've seen. I couldn't really help but feel like there was some sort of force that had gathered us all that evening and made us come here, to this kind of magical forest ritual that we suddenly were a part of. And then the lady behind this event started walking around to the fires, telling us about the star myths of the forest Finns.
Da strøk du ikke med den natta. Og da det noen som har en forestilling når de ser på Mjølkeveien, at der har forfedrene våre reist, de som har gått før oss da. Og da tar jeg opp den lilla kjeppen.
Stories of ancestors traveling across the sky, of bears and elk hunts, and people who used the night sky to navigate their way back home. And stories about this field where we were standing, where forest Finns had been working for generations, using fire as a tool to grow their crops. The fires were getting bigger and bigger, rising higher and higher towards the sky. And then, as if it wasn't already magical enough, the northern lights arrived. Bendik and I sat with these people by the fire for hours that evening, watching the northern lights spread across the sky. We really felt like we never wanted to leave. But eventually, it got so cold that even us, the last handful of people around the fire, decided it was time to head home. That was just so magical. I don't even know what just happened. But the northern lights are like still dancing across the sky and we're driving home. I just feel like overwhelmed by this whole experience. It was just so beautiful. Talked a lot with people around the fire yesterday about yarrow and the yarrow tea, and it was kind of funny because there was so many women there and they all were interested in wild herbs, and they had like everyone had like a lot of knowledge about wild edibles and herbal medicine, and it just felt like kind of strange that we just ended up there and then suddenly we were discussing, you know, all these herbs and experiences people had had with like healing different things with yarrow tea, and so it kind of felt like we were with a bunch of like witches that just gathered, you know, that we didn't even know that we would meet each other, but there was just something pulling us there, you know, all of these like herbal witches.
Forest witches.
Yeah, forest witches.
So today we got inspired.
Yeah, yes.
Yarrow tea.
We decided when we drove home yesterday that we need to drink more yarrow tea.
Yeah.
After that magical evening in the woods, we were really curious to learn more about the forest Finns and their history. And we were in so much luck because actually the new Forest Finnish museum had opened in Svuldrya, very close to where we were living. So we're going to Skogfinsk Museum, so like the museum that they have opened about the forest Finns. So the Queen of Norway was actually there yesterday to open and oversee the opening of the museum, and we are going there today. So it's kind of cool that the timing worked out that way. And we're gonna pick up Åse, my stepsister, and she's gonna join us. And then we're gonna head to Svuldrya, which is a little town in the forest. As I mentioned earlier, Åse and Daniel had recently moved to this area, partly because Daniel has a lot of family there. Just like Bendik and me, they were longing to live in a calm area in the countryside and to be able to rent a house without it being too expensive. And Åse had actually recently applied for a job at the Forest Finn Museum, so that was one of the reasons why she was joining us this day, to check out the place. Upon arriving, we were immediately impressed by this new building that is gonna be the center of the museum, in a way. The pillars outside were mimicking a forest, and on the roof there was grass and moss. Inside the building there's a big exhibition where you can learn all sorts of things about the forest Finns, how they migrated from Finland, and lots of things about their culture and their traditions. One of the things I often notice when I learn about the forest Finns is how so much of their lives was connected to fire in a way. They have long traditions for using smoke as a way of heating their homes. And they used a slash and burn technique to grow their rye in the forest. When using this technique, they first chopped down parts of the forest, and then they would burn all of the wood that was lying around, because then they could grow the rye in the ashes. It definitely got me thinking about the evening that Bendik and I had in the forest around the fires. The forest Finns who migrated to Scandinavia also believed that everything in nature was inhabited by spirits. We learned in this museum that they had songs, rituals, magical symbols that they used to navigate their relation with nature and their daily life. And that one of the most common symbols they had was the five-pointed star, which I had actually noticed many places. Today the forest Finns are recognized as a national minority group in Norway, and in 2022 they got their own flag as well. Unfortunately, so many of their traditions are being forgotten, and many of their old farms in the forest are abandoned today. That's why this museum and all the work that has been done around it is so important to help preserve their culture and their history. And if anyone is wondering, I can report that a few weeks after that, Åse actually got a job at this museum. So if you're ever there, you might see her.
Magien, det den shamanistiske måten å kommunisere med krefter i naturen, og det det store.
Beautiful house. Maybe we should buy this house. It was really beautiful. Jeg hørte det. We're out exploring the forest next to where the Airbnb is. the owner of the house told us this was a nice place to go, so we're just walking around. It's so beautiful today. It's like so misty and the sun is like behind the mist and everything. I think the thing that I love about forests is the mystery of them. The feeling that it's not possible to see everything that is hiding in there. And there's always something to discover around the next turn. Some of the strongest memories I have from my childhood are from running around in the forest, exploring together with Åse. We created so many worlds and adventures in the forest, and we always discovered something new there. But another thing that is really important for me is the feeling that I can hide in the forest. This feeling like you can escape from the world a little bit and just disappear between the trees. I wonder if that's how the forest Finns felt as well when they came to this area hundreds of years ago. We found it! Our destination. Der er det marka med rødt. Yeah. Alright, we have finished another day in the school and we're headed to our new Airbnb, which is a gorgeous place, so I'm really excited to show it to you. And it's kind of close to the forest, so it's also kind of nice where it is. It's like there is this big forest at the back of the house, which is really nice. And I am tired and hungry, so I'm also looking forward to getting there now. Okay, we're here. It's a big farm. And the house is over here. I'll go in there. So the people that own this Airbnb also live here at this farm, so it's kind of a big farm with a lot of houses, and this is one of the houses. But I'm of course not going to film their house because that's private. It's also a really beautiful house, so the whole farm is really gorgeous. I'm really tired, so excuse the low energy, but I just really want to give you guys a tour, and Bendik and I decided we want to give you a tour before we make everything super messy in here, because this place is like a gem. And this whole house is like from the 1700s, so it's from 1750, and you can really see it. It's like a timber house, and they also have all of these like details that are really cool, like this table here. It's like so worn in many ways, and I mean this living room is kind of too big for Bendik and me to be living here just by ourselves. It should have been like a huge group of people having a big party here, because there are these long tables. You also have this area over here where you can sit and chill on this beautiful sofa, or I don't know what you call it in English. We call it chaiselong. And of course the highlight of the room, which is the fireplace. And I love this fireplace. It's so big. I think it has been like a baking oven because there's like a door there. And it's original, so it's also kind of cool. And I love how they made this place into a seating area, so you can actually sit here by the fire. And over here we also have maybe one of the coziest areas to sit in, which is the little table by the entrance door and these chairs. Then also one of the first things you notice when you get in here is the kitchen area, which is over here. And it's really nice because when you walk through the door, the first thing you see is this cozy table and this old writing desk over there. And then there's more like a modern kitchen behind you here. So you have this here. This place is a little bit drafty though, because there's definitely some cracks between the door and the frame, and some of the windows are a little bit crooked and stuff. So we kind of have to have the fireplace going almost all day to keep the living room warm. And there's just a little small detail over here, which is this really cozy door that they have just like kind of placed outside on the wall. You can see it here. It's like basically an old door that they just placed on the wall here so that it would look a little bit more original, which I really like. And then there's like a little bathroom here. There are some more bathrooms upstairs as well. And I think I'll show you how the upstairs looks like too. And the first thing you feel is how freaking cold it is in this hallway, because there's no heat here. But that doesn't really matter because it's so cozy. So and as soon as we get up here, you can actually see how the ceilings are actually open here, which is kind of cool. And there are 2 bedrooms, one on each side. And then there's actually 2 bathrooms here, which is kind of chill. But when you go in here, the roof is a little bit lower. And this is the bedroom Bendik and I have chosen to sleep in. And there's a little desk here as well. And then there's also a little sofa area, which is kind of cozy here. I think these are not really original. I think they made them like this so they would fit with the 1700s style, because usually in Norway, like built-in beds like this were kind of common. But these beds are really long, and usually the old beds that are like original, they are way too short for people like us to sleep in, because people in Norway used to be shorter back in the day. So these are most likely just made in this style to fit with this house, and I really love it. And to get into my bed, I actually have to climb like this. It's not the easiest thing. But it's so cozy up here. Oh, and I'm so sleepy. Okay, we need to show you the other room, and then I can probably sleep. If I can get down from here. What I like about this room is that they have windows that way, because that's where the sunset is. And it's bigger and a bit more bright, but yeah, the other one is also quite cozy. The next days, Bendik and I spent most of our time after work in this house. It was rainy and boring outside, and we just kind of needed a little break from all the exploration. Also, this place totally felt like traveling back in time, and it was kind of an experience just being there. But then we were starting to close in on our final days in this area, and we felt like we needed to get out one final time to explore. We didn't really have a strict plan for where to go though, so one day we just took the car and we started driving deeper into Finnskogen to just see where the road would lead us. We're currently driving through Gravberget, which is like a little village. The roads here are a little bit harsh. It's a little village in the middle of the forest, and we don't really know what to see here. It's just like been on the map, like one of the destinations we wanted to check out. And there's also supposed to be a church here that is kind of cool. So maybe we'll check that out. They have recently put new tar on the roof here, so it really smells like tar. Such a beautiful building and just really impressive. Deep in the forest, in the middle of the forest, close to the border with Sweden. It feels like really like an interesting place. It just is so amazing to be in a big forest like this. I love being here. But I have to mention though that it's like everywhere else in Norway, this forest also is an industry. So driving through this forest, you see these areas everywhere where the forest has been chopped down in like a very kind of like brutal way, and there's no trees left. I know that like the forest industry and deforestation and the way we do this in Norway is really damaging to the climate and to the animals and the species that live in the forest. So I always feel kind of sad when I see this, but it's also a tricky topic to discuss, because I also know that this is not really on like one person or like the people that chop down the forest. It's not their fault. It's also not necessarily the landowners' fault that it's like this. It's very like systemic, the whole thing. It's like a big industry, and it's the systems in Norway for preserving forests aren't really that good. And a lot of people actually want to preserve their forests here, but they can't. So yeah, I don't know. It's like this all over Norway and it makes me really sad. We're working on it, I guess. It was starting to get dark, but Bendik and I just kept going. And we drove closer and closer to the border of Sweden. Eventually we were so deep in the forest that we lost all phone signal and internet. But we were so close to the border with Sweden that we could hear the Swedish radio, which was really funny. After driving in the forest for almost an hour, the road eventually led us to Juvberget. A small little hill in the forest where there's still an old farm that is really well preserved from back in the days, even though nobody lives there anymore. This farm was first established by forest Finns back in the 1600s. And today you can actually sleep in one of the houses at the farm if you're hiking in Finnskogen. Wow. It's crazy that someone has lived here for many hundred years. It's like the first people that lived here, they lived here from the 1670s, I think. Look here, it's just endless forests all around you. And this is Sweden. Just below Juvberget there was also another farm that was clearly abandoned. This whole hill just had the feeling of a life that had been lived here, and now there was just no one. But at the same time, there was this feeling like even though the humans have left, the spirits still remain here. The forest that was here long before they came also remains here. And it feels to me like something new is stirring in Finnskogen. Stories and old traditions being brought back to life, and a new understanding, I guess, of the value that these things have. After all our experiences in these woods, I could certainly understand why the forest Finns would want to settle here. But I'm still not completely sure what it is that draws me to this place. And I think that just means that I need to go back again someday, to venture even further.